my name is Eliza Nixon. I started an eyebrow business in 2018. So I have a database of about 2,500 clients. I think I see about around 180 to 200 clients a month. I think it's heading in the right direction, but I do feel like I've reached a point where I've reached, I suppose, can I say max capacity on what I can take on. And the only other option, if I want to make more money in my business, would be to work more hours, which sort of goes against why I started the business in the first place.
Yeah. So the problem is you've built the business since 2018. You've got it to a size that you're really happy with, but it sounds like growth has plateaued and you feel a bit stuck in terms of where to from here, because the only way that you could continue to grow is to work more hours, and that goes against the lifestyle that you want to create for you and your family. What we're going to do today is sort of map out where the business is at right now, where you're stuck, what the problem is, and then we're going to put together a few different options to choose from, because there are 3 different models that you can choose when it comes to scaling a consulting business or a service firm business in the beauty industry. And we're going to talk about those 3 different options. 2 of them you've already tried, and then there's a third on the table, which I think is where the conversation might go today. So what we're going to do is I'm going to frame up the 3 different ways that you can scale, because there are 3 different ways that you can do it. And I think that a lot of people start in one model and then naturally transition into another model, sometimes without even knowing that that's what they're doing. They're just, going down that journey. And the reality is, if you're in the model that's right for you, it's great. But if you're in a model that's not the right fit for you, it doesn't work very well. So I'll frame up the 3 different models and we can talk about what they look like. The first model is the solo consultant. So obviously when you first started your business, you were a solo consultant. That's where we all start. We're a one-man band. We're doing the client delivery. We're doing the marketing. We're doing the sales. We're doing all the things.
Yeah.
And this is a really good place to start. It's where everybody starts, and you can absolutely build a business that's a match for your lifestyle and your income goals in the solo consultant model.
Yeah.
It's also the most simple because you're only thinking about you and you're not having to manage a team. You've got complete clarity and control over your clients as well. But the downside is you're limited by your time because you're one person and you're wearing all of the hats and all of the responsibility. The next model, and this is sort of the natural transition of what happens, is what we call the firm principal. And the firm principal is the leader in the business. And what happens when you have a firm principal business is you start to build out a team of delivery people that are then responsible for their own clients. And your role in a firm principal setup is to recruit, so attract and retain the talent that you've got, because these people are now responsible for the front line and interacting and dealing with your clients. So you want to make sure that they're well trained, that they've got everything that they need to succeed with clients, and ultimately they are responsible for the delivery. You as the firm principal are responsible for quality control, training, mentoring, developing the team, and then driving the vision of the business and growth. That's model number 2. Now, the third model, which is one of the models that you haven't yet explored, is what we call the scalable expert. So the scalable expert is someone who is an expert, has technical abilities, or is a subject matter expert, and has chosen to work in a model where they're able to service many clients at once. In this model, what you're actually selling is your expertise and your thinking, so your IP. So this is where you may have a low ticket membership. You might be working with people in groups or workshops. So essentially, this model is largely about leverage and leveraging the time that you have available. Yeah. So the examples I would generally use for this is, so perfect example, you started as a solo provider. Initially, you dabbled a little bit in the firm principal when you hired a team member. And the third example of this in your industry would be someone who is working with either consumers in a group situation, and that could be through education and styling workshops, etc. Or it could be starting to train, mentor, develop other brow stylists or technicians in the industry to build their business or sharpen up their skill set. 3 different models. All of them are capable of building to $1 million. Out of the 3, where do you feel you're most aligned?
I feel most aligned with scalable expert. I love the idea of firm principal, but I genuinely get more excited when I'm helping other people, or when I get questions and I know that I can help someone with an answer. And even when I did dabble with training a staff member, I did feel kind of excited and accomplished when I would help them develop a skill and I would see them grow in that skill. I do feel like scalable expert is probably where I would like to go, but yeah.
Yeah. What's stopping you transitioning into this straight away? Why haven't you done this yet?
Definitely a bit of imposter syndrome. Also just not having a roadmap, but I have no idea what to do, where to start. There's obviously lots of information out there, but I would have no idea where to start. And I also feel like I've built an audience of clients, and I do struggle to see how that fits in with my current audience, what I would actually, like who I'm actually talking to. Yeah.
So a bit of fear around imposter syndrome, potentially also what clients are going to say or think, uncertainty just in what the actual pathway is to move forward and where to from here. Does that sound accurate? So I'll put that down as sort of that roadmap piece of no clear direction. Yeah, which is a big one. I see this a lot, especially with new clients. That is the number one thing that I hear again and again is I know what I want to do. Like, for example, with you, this is the pathway that I want. I don't have a roadmap. I don't know how to get there. I will execute until the cows come home, but just please give me the road to follow. The first is and this links back to the fear piece around imposter syndrome, because when we have imposter syndrome or we have fear, it's the thing below the waterline. If we think about an iceberg, it's the thing below the waterline that's going to stop us from growing and stop us from stepping forward or being seen. What's at stake if you're not able to make this transition? What's at stake for you if you're not able to do this for some reason, and if these things continue to hold you back and this doesn't come into fruition?
And I will probably eventually hate it. Eventually. And I always think too, like when I'm in my 50s, do I still want to be doing people's eyebrows? Like, probably not.
But you would be limiting yourself from an impact perspective. Brilliant. Let's talk a little bit about the future now. So if we can make this transition and we make this jump from solo consultants to scalable expert, what's the upside for you? What will change in your life?
Look, I actually, first and foremost, I think I would probably feel a sense of accomplishment, because it is actually something that it just feels so foreign and scary that if I could actually achieve that, I would feel very good about myself. I would feel very accomplished. I also feel like, it would free up some time as well, not being constantly face to face day in, day out. And as I've got 4 children now, and things, you think when they start school that things will get easier, but things get busier. And so I do want to, still be there for them and free up some extra time, and income goals as well, the next level of income goal.
Yeah. So more money, more time.
And let's, change it into another.
Okay. Now, before we step into scalable expert and building that out, the $1 million question is, A, how far do you want to take this? So are we building $1 million business? Are we building a $500,000 business? What's the revenue goal around what you want to create with the scalable expert business and the business in general?
Well, go for gold. $1 million business. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. So when it comes to revenue, I'm going to spread out over here. If our goal is to build $1 million business, there's a couple of things that we need to consider. So obviously when it comes to growing a business, you're going to have a certain amount of clients that you're working with, and those clients are going to be paying you a certain level of investment to access that service. So we know that in a solo consultant business, you're capped by time. So the number of clients you work with is going to be based on the amount of time that you have available, and the amount that you earn is going to be based on how much you charge those clients. So if you want to earn more money, the 2 levers that you can pull is get more clients, but that's going to mean more time, and or charge them more money. And that's going to impact the investment that they make with you, and therefore what your revenue is going to be. Now, in a solo consultant model in the beauty industry, you may be able to have $1 million business, but you would have to charge those customers significantly to build that number.
Very expensive eyebrows.
That's right. So as a solo consultant, you're going to be impacted and your revenue is going to plateau at a certain level quite quickly. So scalable expert, what that's going to do is be able to unlock more time for you. Instead of working with 1 client at a time, you're working with several clients at the same time.
Okay, so I've thought of teaching people how to do eyebrow threading, because that's what I specialize in.
Yeah.
And it's not something that is highly taught. My first idea was that I would make it an online course, and I've written all the information down, but I haven't done anything else about it.
Yeah.
So it was very much sharing my skill set with others of the actual services.
Yeah.
However, I do have other skills, like because before I was in beauty, I worked a lot of sales and real estate, and I learned a lot about just sales, customer service, marketing, customer experience, a lot of things that I think in beauty specifically are not taught. And I think that's part of how I've been successful in my business, is not just having the skill set to perform the services, but to, I suppose, build that client experience and even just have a level of professionalism that I think some people haven't been taught.
So essentially, there's one option, which is technique. So actually teaching people the technical skill set of how to perform this as a service. And the second piece that you spoke about was more in the context of business building. Does that sound accurate?
Yeah.
Is there anything else, or are they the two main ideas that you've been floating so far?
Third idea was more client focused. So I suppose more education, but more just, you know, how to fill in your brows, how to do this from home, how to, you know, if you're living in a rural area and you don't have access to a beauty person, how can you maintain things at home? Those sorts of things, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So eyebrow threading for the eyebrow technician, business building to help them grow that business. And then a third idea could be consumer education. So teaching them how to maintain their brows at home. All right. So we've got our three concepts, and they are the eyebrow threading, which is technique for the eyebrow technician, the second, which is business building, and the third, which is consumer education. So teaching end consumer how to achieve that looker. With these different topic ideas or themes, there is a format choice that happens here, because with eyebrow threading, there would be a particular format that might make sense to be able to teach or facilitate that education. Same with the business building and same with consumer education. So when we think about the different ways that you could structure this, one of them, which you mentioned before, is build out a course. And that would generally be a set time frame, probably pre-recorded, something that you record and then make available for purchase. Second would be a workshop. So workshop could be delivered online or it could be delivered in person. So that's number 2. Do you know what the third is?
Like a mentorship?
Yeah. So coaching or mentoring.
Yeah.
And for this could either be one-on-one or it could be group or it could be a hybrid. But the concept here is essentially these two are more static offerings. So for a course, for example, you complete the course, you get the training, and you're done with that particular course. You're probably not going to do the same course several times over. And same thing for workshop. So with coaching and mentoring, generally this represents more of a longer term client dynamic, which is important because you think about the model that you've currently got with eyebrow clients, they come back. So what's the timeline that the average client would come back within?
Like 4 to 6 weeks.
Every 4 to 6 weeks, yeah. So can you see how if you sold a course that was a one-time thing, you're only getting one purchase. So you're not getting that repeat purchase behavior that's going to be possible when you consider coaching and mentoring. So in these two models, you need significant volume in order to be able to reach the goal. Whereas in a coaching or mentoring relationship, because there is that repeat purchase, there is greater capacity to build customer lifetime value. So the amount that the customer is going to be worth or investing with you over the course of their lifetime increases because of the amount of times that they're coming back.
Okay.
Now, there's still caveats around this when it comes to price, because obviously if coaching and mentoring is a low ticket offer and it's $100 a month, but you sell a course for $10,000 or a workshop for $10,000, then some of those nuances will come into effect. But generally, the best problems for you to solve are problems that are recurring. Same with eyebrows. It's a recurring problem in theory because they're going out of shape. You know, they're growing. Exactly. You know, same for hair. Your hair's growing. You're getting regrowth. So it's a great thing because it's a recurring problem, because the who matters for a lot of reasons. One, in order to know what you're going to sell them as the offer, how much the offer is going to be, what outcomes they're going to get, you need to know who it is that you're targeting.
Yeah.
So down here with these two here, the business building and the eyebrow technique for the technician would be business to business offers, because they would be targeting people who are aiming to earn income, generate from those two options. The third is a B2C, so a business to consumer. You as a business would be facilitating that education to the consumer. So it's the difference between B2B and B2C. One thing that I would recommend when you're first starting out in this journey is to pick a lane and stick with that for a significant amount of time so that you can build a business around one thing and your messaging can be around one thing. Because one of the things that you'll find is if you're trying to promote too many things to too many different types of people at the same time, messaging is really hard and very confusing for you and them. And it's a bit of a weird analogy, but I always say to clients, it's like a hose that has the different options that you can choose. You know how you've got like the mist, the cone, the jet, etc., the shower. What I say to clients is when you're multi-passionate and you've got lots of different interests and lots of things that you're capable of teaching or doing, it can be tempting to be the mist and have all of these different, try everything, have all these different offshoots and like courses, workshops, mentoring, this, that, the other, and, you know, to all different types of people. But what ends up happening is you're the mist and you're not actually getting projection. You're just getting evaporation, basically. And that is sometimes how it can feel your energy too. So really important to be the jet, condense down the options that you've got, go with the most viable option, and then go all in on that so that you're able to get that projection. And a lot of the time that can mean that you go faster. So with these 3 options, so the technique, the business building, and the consumer education, which option are you leaning most towards?
I knew you were going to say that. Look, if I had no limitations, and I mean like mental limitations on myself, I would probably go with 2.
Yes.
I feel more comfortable at 3 because I feel so comfortable around my clients and around my community who are very much here. And I still like the idea of teaching a skill. However, I just feel like I'm a bit past it.
So there's a bit of inertia around 1.
Yeah.
There's safety and comfort around 3.
Yeah.
But there's excitement and fear around 2.
Yes.
Okay, great. So if we're talking business building, then we're talking a B2B offer. So therefore, explain the person. So if we're talking about this business building ideal client, tell me a little bit about them.
I would say that they are very fresh in startup phase. They don't have any clear direction. They don't know where to start. They probably have a lot of fear around their own ability and what they should be doing. I would say a lot of that to do with, social media, showing up, putting themselves out there, and even just putting like structures and systems in place to support them.
So no systems. Have they done any training yet? Are they trained? Are they like in their business? Have they got clients? They've got their first clients, so they don't yet have their own clients yet?
I would say brand new. But I feel like even just with, I've got a lot of business owners that are clients of mine for eyebrows that will ask me lots of questions on their own businesses that they're in the very early stages of. And I feel like, we'll just sort of give them some advice on things that they could do to.
Yeah. What do these guys want?
Good question. I think they just want to reach whatever their idea of success is within their business.
So is that more money?
Money, clients, customers.
They want clients and money. Yeah. What else do they want?
Support, a roadmap.
So clarity.
Yeah.
Do you think they want brand authority? Like they want to be visible, seen?
Yeah.
What else? So they're early startup, no clear direction. There's a bit of fear, there's uncertainty. They don't have any systems yet in their business. They're actively trying to build a client base. Probably a little bit scared of socials, not really sure how to nail that part and show up. They want clients and ultimately more money. They want clarity and some type of roadmap. And they want visibility for their brand. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. And I suppose getting rid of that fear and uncertainty is that sort of beating their own imposter syndrome or understanding, even just how social media works, the different platforms and what they could be good for or where they sit or where they should be.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Okay, brilliant. So we've got a bit of an idea now on who this individual is and what they're facing, where they're at and what they want. In order to put any offer together, we always need to know who they are, what their problems are now and what they ultimately want in order to be able to put together the offer. It's also helpful to know what they've tried before that didn't work, because I would imagine with this type of client, they've probably tried maybe a course or podcasts or free workshops, things that they found off the internet, maybe a bit of ChatGPT coaching, but ultimately they're still stuck.
Yeah.
They're still in the same position. So once we know who the who is, then we can put together the offer to try and help these people. And where most people go wrong is they create the offer before they've actually considered the who itself, and unpack that a little bit more. We've already got a couple of ideas here, a few ideas through course, workshop, coaching and mentoring. Out of the things that you can see here, just straight off the bat, what type of offer do you think makes the most sense when it comes to solving these problems?
Do you mean in terms of these 3 or do you mean?
So if we talk about the features of an offer, for example, you said before they want clarity and they need a roadmap. So would you say giving them a roadmap would be an essential part of an offer to match where these guys are at? So some type of business roadmap is going to be a match for these guys. With the no systems part, what could be something that you give them or help them with that would solve the no systems problem that they have? Tools, templates, checklists to follow. So that might include some mindset and leadership support. What about the social side?
Like that, to sort of help people.
So socials, templates, training and guides. So we've covered brand, we've covered roadmap, we've covered social, system side of things. Okay, love it. Let's talk about outcomes, because one of the biggest mistakes I see with people making offers is there's not a quantifiable end result. There is not actually something specific that you're promising people that they're going to get once they do all of these things and they implement all of these things. When you know your quantifiable end result, there is total conviction in what you're selling because you're very crystal clear about what it is and what it's not. Build a 10K brow styling business in a 10K per month brow styling business in 20 hours per week. And which of those feels more aligned? Is it 10K a month? Is it 100K a year? Is it 6-figure? What do you think feels most aligned to these people?
I feel like framing it as 10K a month sounds less scary to people than aiming for the 100K a year. Like mentally, I feel like if you're dealing with people that are at square one and perhaps they're dealing with a lot of fear or imposter syndrome, I think that would have freaked me out at the beginning. That's just not
So it's
possible.
more achievable for them to say 10K per month. Can you see how, as soon as you actually put the frame around it to build a 10K per month beauty business in 20 hours per week, not month, that would be great. Can you see how that completely changes the frame from like booked out and or busy and booked out? So now we've got the quantifiable end result. We're good because that's very clear. You're here now. This is what I can promise you, and this is what I'm going to provide in order to be able to deliver the result. Now, there's one other thing that we need to consider. If someone comes into this offer here and you want to get them there, you need to consider the amount of time that it's going to take for the person to achieve that. This is another area where I see a lot of people go wrong with an offer, is what they are promising is not a match for the time of the program. So for example, if someone is just starting out, they haven't got their first client, is it going to be attainable to say, build a 10K per month business in 20 hours per week and structure this as a 30-day program?
No, it would be at least 12 months probably.
12 months, do you feel like that's an appropriate amount of time
I think it's achievable, yeah.
to attain that? Again, where I see a lot of people go wrong is promise this in too short of a time frame. If somebody says from an education standpoint that that's possible in a month, then this person is likely going to lack buyer safety because they're going to assume that that is not possible and therefore you're taking them for a ride. So now you've got your quantifiable end result and you've got your time frame. So we've got clarity around the outcome and the time frame. Now we can consider the value proposition, how we're going to price this offer. So price is always going to be a scale of, if we think about value, it's going to look like how much am I paying for the whatever it is that I'm buying, product, service, and what's the value that I'm receiving. That's it. It is always about that, to invest that to get that value back. So if you're a brand new beauty business and you're just starting out and you're not making any money, and the promise at the end of the 12 months is to have a 10K per month beauty business, there might be a ramp up process that takes place. But let's assume that, over the course of the lifetime of the offer, in time, they're going to make 100, 120K back from their investment. So I would be considering, if somebody is generating 10K per month consistently at that stage, they might be at a stage where they're prepared to invest. If it's 5% of their income, it might be $500. If it's 10%, it might be $1,000 per month in mentorship. The other thing that you need to consider is how you're delivering this mentorship. There are limitations that you need to be aware of. For example, you've left the solo consultant model because you're capped. So one thing that you need to be careful of in this model is you don't accidentally build a one-on-one model, again, through coaching. So one of the things that you could consider at this earlier stage is potentially working with these guys in a completely group model. So there is no one-on-one access to you at all. At a later stage of business where they're continuing to grow and scale, you may look at a hybrid situation where you've got maybe some one-on-one or some hot seat coaching calls or something to that effect at someone who's at a later stage of business, which would give you the capacity to have 2 tiers. So you might have a startup tier and then you might have a growth tier. So based on what we've discussed, what are you feeling most confident about now?
I think I feel I feel confident in the direction that I want to go in. And I feel like it's good to have a list of, I suppose, some specific things listed on the who and the what.
Yeah.
It gives me a lot to think about. I suppose at this point now, it's just how do you build that?
Yes.
And how do you find these people that
Yes.
need your help?
Good. Okay. So what we've done is we've been able to clarify specifically who Eliza is targeting for this offer. We've been able to clarify exactly what she is going to provide as part of the coaching and mentoring that she's providing them. We've got clarity around the quantifiable end result, which is how to build a 10K per month beauty business in 20 hours per week, which is directly aligned to who these people are and what they're wanting. Is going to need to close the revenue gap that she's aiming to close with this specific offer. And we've got clarity around the fact that this is a B2B offer, and Eliza is going to be delivering this to people that are looking to grow a beauty business. So in terms of next steps, the first thing that I would suggest that needs to happen from here is for you to create the offer document. You know who you're targeting, and you know what you're going to give them, and you know what outcome you're going to give them over what time frame, which is the 12 months, and the format that you're going to deliver. The first step is to create an offer doc. This offer doc is going to be what you use in order to be able to sell these people the offer. Once you've got your offer doc and you've got clarity now over what you're going to put inside that offer doc, and this is scrappy, so this is not a 63-page Canva presentation built inside Claude. This is a Google Doc scrappy AF offer document that has all the details, and it is literally identifying all of the things that we've spoken about today. Clarity over the quantifiable end result. So offer doc is first, a beta program.
Okay.
So step 1, write the offer doc based on everything that we've spoken about today. Step 2, advertise the beta program so that you can get people from your existing network to step forward.
Yeah.
And step 3, you're going to start delivering this to a beta program, probably within a container of about 6 or 8 weeks initially.
Okay.
So you can get real-time feedback on all of these things and make sure that the points that we've discussed today on Butcher's paper are actually the things that they're needing, and these are the things that they need to solve those problems. And get your first case studies and testimonials that you can then use as poster girls or boys to then sell your ongoing 12-month program once you've delivered it for the first time.
Wow. That's exciting.
Very exciting. Do you feel like you're clear on next steps?
Yes. Clear on next steps. I just need to put this doc together.
Yes.
I think. And then I'm going to send it to you.
Yes. I can have a look over
Okay,
it.
to check it.
Yes. Excited for you.
Thank you.
Crushing it.